All right, folks, welcome back to episode 5, season 3. Season 3.
It's episode, Dan.
No, but we've had seasons of the Coach's Couch.
That's true.
Evolved to now. Anyway, we're live from Yoyo's. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here. We've got a lot of new announcements. We had some great announcements last week. We're building this channel, Coach.
Love it.
It's your couch.
And what about these new
It's
mics?
Yoyo's
Two
couch.
What about these
Oh,
new
yeah, he
mics?
wasn't here last week.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the mics. Big shout out. This is RZ's show. We know that.
Absolutely.
RZ has acquired 2 mics from Movo. It's a company, I don't know where they're from or what they do, but they provided the 2 mics. They're from California. We're going West Coast.
4?
No, they provided the 2 mics. We had an anonymous donation. Can I say who the anonymous donation is? It was Andy Ziegler.
Easy.
Andy provided
Love
the
it.
next 2 mics, so we've got 4 mics. Thank you, Andy Ziegler, for the donation. But thank you, Movo. Great product. They're orange. They're not the fuzzy little whatevers that we had
Sweet,
week
yeah.
1.
Oh, you remember those?
Yeah. So we're evolving thanks to the sponsors. We'll talk more about, we've got some new sponsors. Matter of fact, let's get into it. We've got a new sponsorship level. I don't know if you knew
Oh,
this.
no, I was gone last week, Dan.
Yeah, you've been gone for a minute. So
Thank you.
RZ developed a new sponsorship level. Of course, we got our segment sponsors this week in Bulldog Athletics. We're going to announce a new sponsor tonight. But we also have something we call coaches, what do we call it? Couch sponsors. So anybody that wants to give underneath a 200 or less amount, 150 and up, thank you, RZ, can be a couch sponsor, and we have 2 of those tonight that I'm pleased to announce. So I want to thank, before we get the show started, I want to thank our new couch sponsors, Darren and Lindsay Peters. Let's give a clap for them. Yep, a little golf clap. And also Alex and Amy Giorgio.
Oh,
So it worked.
It
You
worked.
got him in.
We
Yeah,
guilted
you roped
Alex.
him in.
We guilted
Alex
him.
came home, begged his wife. His wife's like, of course we're doing it.
Love
So thank you, Alex and Amy Giorgio. We know Amy had everything to do with that, by the way.
100%.
Oh,
So thank you,
boss's
Amy
decision.
Giorgio and Alex. So let's get right into it. Remember, we're live. We've got a bigger crowd than ever.
Ever.
We encourage more crowd.
We're not signing autographs tonight.
Not yet.
No, that's week 9.
Right.
But we encourage crowd participation via questions because we have a segment we call Sidelines with a new sponsor. We'll get to that.
Sweet.
Where we ask Coach questions, Q&A. We have a couple already submitted.
I hope Bernice
We'll get to that.
Bernice should have been.
Bernice from Mansfield might be listening. We don't know. We'll get to that. But let's get into it. Coach, we always recap last week.
All right.
We had hurricane weather
Yes, we did.
over in Taylorville, fitting for the Twisters matchup. Kind of really did affect your game plan. Talk about Taylorville, what thought process you had going in. You knew bad weather. You had to have a game plan going in. What was the game plan, and how did you execute that game plan?
Yeah, I think, again, our offensive staff did a great job of being prepared for both. We kind of had a really good inclination that it was going to be sideways wind and rain, and so we felt strong about the run game plan that we had and being able to mix in the passing game. I mean, again, I know we only threw it. I only know we threw it 8 times total, but to go 6 for 8 and be as effective as we were in the passing game, I think that says a lot. A credit to our coaching staff calling them at the right time, and then Lucas to be able to deliver the ball, and then certainly our wideouts to make some great catches. One of them, Owen Seymour, down the sideline right there before half. I promise you, I think that was one of the biggest game changers that we had, is us being able to score right there before the first half to go into halftime with a 13-6 lead, 13-6 or 14-6, excuse me, instead of a 7-6 lead. I think that was huge to come out in the second half and then get the ball to start the half. So, but overall, Cade Ashby with another 30-plus carry game. What a workhorse he is, and the big guys up front, and you'll hear from one of them here in a little bit. Our offensive line has been tremendous this year. Again, not only in the running game, but they continued to keep guys off of Lucas Lucas and another clean pocket, and he's not even getting knocked down, let alone sacked. So just a huge credit to our offensive line and our running game as a whole, and then our offensive coaching staff to be able to have that game plan in their back pocket and implement it, and then us to be able to be as successful as we were. On the flip side of that, again, we kind of knew or thought that Taylorville was going to throw the ball a lot more. They have two wideouts who are probably going to be all-conference wide receivers, very good football players. And then their quarterback, who, again, I'm sure is going to be in talks of being potentially an all-conference quarterback as well. We had kind of expected them to throw the ball a lot more than they did. But, again, when you throw in that wind factor, it was very hard for them. And like I said, we had kind of we had played the whole field position and wind battle, kind of started, the game in the certain direction we wanted to, and then it just worked out the way our third quarter worked, that they were kind of into the wind again. So all in all, we were able to force them to probably run a different game plan than they wanted to. And then our defensive staff and our kids with an incredible adjustment on the fly. I'll give Taylorville this credit. They had shown us a couple formations in that game that we hadn't seen all year. And so we weren't as prepared for those, right? They'd never shown them before. But our kids were awesome in making those adjustments or adapting to those adjustments. And then our coaches for being able to make those adjustments. It was a really good night on both sides of the ball.
Oh, is it my turn?
Chad, by the way, we missed you last week. I don't like doing that a lot.
I had to introduce myself to him because I forgot who he was.
Yeah, well, he
No one
doesn't
ever
have his
forgot
shirt
who I
on.
was, Coach.
Normally he
Don't
wears
kid
a shirt
yourself.
that has his name on it.
It's true. It's very
Okay,
true.
Tonight we're not sure. This is
very
Chad Collins, everyone. Chad, you had a question?
I do. I've got several questions. So, Coach,
Several.
we're still on Taylorville, right?
Okay.
We beat Taylorville 28-6 there. We ran the ball 82% of the time last week. 56 carries for 306 yards. Ashby had 49% of those. Two-pronged question here. The first is, how much did weather play into that? And number two, I noticed that 4 or 5 different players carried the ball for those 306 yards. How critical was that?
Yeah, we had lost Tristan Nielsen Monday in the week out of the JV game, so that was a huge curveball that we weren't expecting. So for Wade Manuel to come in and get the yards that he had and the carries that he had, Lucas Dyer to be able to pull the ball down and run it when he needed to, and then Brock Vanderveer to come in and get those diesel carries, just to be able to spread the wealth. Again, 30 carries for Ashby is a lot. He is a workhorse, but we got to have somebody else to be able to carry the ball if we're going to have to run it that many times. And like you had mentioned, the weather kind of forced us to have to run it that many times. So
Well,
I was.
But that was the question. Was that part of the plan? Because the weather, you couldn't sling the long ball, and so running was critical.
Exactly, and when we were going into the wind especially, it was incredibly hard to throw the ball. I think we tried maybe 2 short screens and maybe a hitch, honestly. Out of our 8 passes, maybe 3 of them when we were actually going into the wind. It was that effective. So you're right, the weather did play a huge role or factor in the fact of how much we had to run the ball. But like I said, I'm really, really proud of our kids being able to step up the way they did. Again, Wade Manuel hasn't had that many carries this year, and for him to have 9 for 61 yards or whatever he had, Gavin Hammerschmidt. So I think we had 4 or 5 different ball carriers, and that's what we needed in that time because of the weather, because of the adaptations we put into our game plan. I was proud of our kids.
A couple more statistics for you. I'm a numbers guy.
He loves it.
I live and breathe the numbers.
He's kind of a nerd that way.
I love it.
When we played Charleston, we ran 54% of the time. When we played Sycamore, we ran 75% of the time. How critical is the passing game and the balance going into the rest of the season for the opponents we're going to have? And then I have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah, again, that was kind of game by game, right? So the Sycamore game, a huge curveball was thrown into us when we lost Trey. Again, not only formational, but then just what he can do and maybe what our game plan was to try to get him the ball. All of a sudden you lose him. Again, you got at least one hand tied behind your back, and as far as maybe what you had planned or prepared to go. So again, we were kind of forced into running the ball more in the second half. That being said, they stayed too high and they continued to give us a light box. So we did a really good job of taking advantage of what they gave us. Then fast forward or flip to the Charleston game, and it necessarily wasn't the case. We felt good in the passing game. We had a week to prepare with Mason Orton and Owen Seymour and Wade Manuel and some of those guys stepping up in those positions. We had more time to prep what formational or what pass plays we liked with those guys in there. So I think that's why we were able to go back to being more balanced. And then really this last Friday was kind of just the old, hat in the wind type deal from a standpoint of like we really had no choice. We wanted to throw the ball more than 8 times. I can promise you that. And we were effective when we threw it. But we had to run the football.
My last question, recapping Taylorville. And I'm not one to spread mud, but I do want an honest answer out of this.
Oh, boy.
We had 6 penalties for 44 yards, 6 times the penalties that Taylorville had.
Oh, boy.
How do you mentally prepare the players to not make mental mistakes? Some penalties are good.
No
right?
doubt.
Yeah.
I mean,
No doubt.
If it's a breakaway, touchdown,
Yep.
you want that penalty.
No doubt.
How do you mentally prepare them going into another conference play coming up with Mount Zion?
You're right. And again, and this is kind of what I told the kids this week, we're on the road again, right? Rewind to the Taylorville game. I can't tell you the last time that we've been penalized that many times for those penalties that they were throwing. I was able to see it live. We were able to review the tape. There were several penalties that were called that were not penalties. And that was the frustrating part. I felt it was one-sided in certain things, and if you go back and rewatch the tape, it was literally one-sided of the field as far as that is concerned, of where the penalties were coming from. Again, there were a couple legit penalties, and then there is a time and a place where a couple penalties, aggressive penalties, are okay. We tell the kids, if you're going to get beat for a touchdown, you better have a defensive pass interference. Give them the 15 yards, but make them snap the ball again. So there are times where penalties are okay. We had a couple that we needed to correct. A couple were legit holdings, but there were several that and if you watch the game, I was pretty discouraged and upset with our officiating crew. And I can say that my dad's been an official for 27 years. I've grown up around the game. I know the game very well. I was pretty disgruntled with a couple things that happened on Friday night as far as the officiating was concerned. But that's no excuse. We're on the road again. And we know that we might have to battle more than 11. That's just a fact of the matter. We can't let that be a factor in the game. We have to be able to adapt and overcome that. And we were able to do that last Friday. Put ourselves in critical, tough positions. Hammer with Bryson with the great play. Hammer with the reverse call. We were able to cash in, with the great Brock run, 15 yards. So we were able to kind of come back or bounce back from those tough penalty calls. We can't let that be a factor this Friday, even though we're on the road again.
And speaking of this Friday, Dan, we've got Mount Zion. It's their homecoming.
It's their homecoming. You know what? And that Mount Zion has us circled, right? Like that's been the conference rivalry, if you will, for the last 4 or 5 years. Before we get to Mount Zion, though, I just want to shout out because we have a theme tonight, Chad.
What is it?
We talk about all these playmakers on the run game. Those kids don't get anywhere without a line.
Undoubted.
We try to do a good job of highlighting our line, both sides of the ball. Tonight is a lineman special.
Love
Coach's
it.
couch.
I can't wait for it.
This is
If you
exciting.
this has nothing to do with tonight's broadcast.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Georgia-Alabama game,
Here we
that
go.
got won and
He had
lost.
to get a Bama.
That
reference.
got won and lost at the line. So I'm super glad that these guys
No,
are
you're
here
right.
tonight.
People, the average viewer doesn't understand football is won and lost in the trenches.
No
So
question.
I am thrilled that we have a lineman special. So our guests tonight are all lineman-based people.
Oh, I can't wait.
Coaches,
Love it.
offensive linemen. We'll get to that. But let's get to Mount Zion. That's the circle game in the conference every year. Mount Zion maybe hasn't performed. They're still 3-2 coming in. Maybe they've surprised us from a standpoint of they haven't put up big numbers. A lot of playmakers, D1 athletes. They got a kid going to U of I. We'll talk about our kid going to U of I as well, which is exciting. That's breaking news as of today. We'll get to that. But they've got a couple D1 athletes. They've got skill position covered, athletes out the wazoo. And you know this is the game that they want to win more than any game, maybe more than playoffs. How do you prepare for that going into the Mount Zion? It's their homecoming. It's at their place. We've had some history there with officiating, with other things. How do you get the guys ready?
I don't have to do anything. As crazy as that sounds, our kids have had this game circled too. You're right, Dan. I mean, it is a rivalry game. It is for the conference championship year in and year out usually. And our kids know that. They know what we're up against. They know we're on the road. They're homecoming. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Anybody that knows our kids knows that they love when they're doubted. They love it. They feed off of that. It fuels them even more. So all week long, we talked about how great Braden Trimble is and how great JC and Harvey and we just continued to fill their mind with this and let them know how many scholarship offers these kids have because that motivates our kids. And I'm telling you what, our kids have a dog mentality, grit your teeth, grind it out, and we're going to go over there. And I can promise you this, Dan, we're going to give probably the best game we've had so far up to this point tomorrow night. I just know our kids, and I know how well they've prepared this week. It might be their homecoming, but it's our Super Bowl.
I love it. So I got another question. I know you've got some. I've got one more, and then I'll turn it over to you, Chad. Mount Zion, of course, coming off a tough loss, actually. So I think that makes this game even more dangerous for you guys because now they're more hungry. They know, you know what, we dropped one. Maybe it's a trap game for them. I don't know because they're looking ahead to this game. That probably makes them even more dangerous in my mind. Talk about that.
I would be shocked if they weren't preparing for us for multiple weeks and very easily could have accidentally overlooked Matt Toon. And then again, let's not kid ourselves. The weather was a major factor last Friday. Matt Toon, a running team. Mount Zion, typically a more passing team. The weather played a huge role in that. And unfortunately, you know, penalties and turnovers are going to cost you games. And Mount Zion just had one too many of those. So there's no doubt the weather's going to be great tomorrow. Yeah. And they're at home. They're back at home. They're homecoming, and they know the implications of the conference for this game. I know that they're going to be ready to go. Patrick does a great job with those kids, and they do have special talent all across the field. It's going to be a great ball game. If you're a football fan, I would suggest going to Mount Zion High School tomorrow night because you're going to be in for a special treat.
Coach, we talked about our game versus Taylorfield. I'm out.
Fielderville.
Taylorville.
Okay.
Taylorfield is in Mahomet. It's
in
one
Mahomet.
of our. That's where we play flag football.
Yeah, I knew he's got flag
No,
football.
that's where we raise champions.
We talked about Taylorville earlier, right? Mount Zion only scratched out a 14-12 win over Taylorville. A couple things I want to bring up. Mount Zion gave up 180 passing yards versus Taylorville. Does that change our strategy offensively from where we've seen 75%, 82%, heavy running game? Do we pick on their defensive backs to try to gain an edge when they give that kind of passing yards to somebody like Taylorville, number one?
Again, I don't think we're giving Taylorville enough credit. I think we were very fortunate that the weather was a factor last week. Because they have an incredible passing game with a great quarterback.
It's not your mama's Taylorville team. That's a good
probably one
Taylorville
of the best Taylorville teams that I've seen since I've been here. Just how hard and physical they play. But that being said, Chad, you know this, and everybody knows this. We have a great game plan, prepped and ready to go for tomorrow night. Our kids have executed it very well all week long, and I'm excited. I'll tell you what, we got the boys ready to roll, and should be a great one.
We shouldn't overlook Mount Zion's running game. They threw up 150, 160 yards in their last game, rushing 26 times. They controlled the clock. How do we prepare, or not how do we, I'm not part of the coaching staff, how does your team prepare to stop the run without exposing what we could say is generally a younger defensive back, so we don't get lulled into the box play and miss the long ball?
Absolutely. They are incredibly dynamic in what they do. Like I said, they have 4 wideouts who are all special talented players who can hurt you at any time. And then when you do try to defend the pass, they can run the ball very efficiently. There's a reason why they are very successful offensively. Again, a well-coached team. Patrick does an awesome job with not only their team but their offense specifically. And so we know we were going to have our hands full tomorrow night. But again, I really, truly like our game plan, and our preparation has been awesome this week. And I'm excited to see our kids play in this awesome atmosphere and awesome environment tomorrow night.
Last kind of question, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but in our run game, what I noticed in the last 3 games is that 4 to 6 players are touching the ball. We talk about Cade Ashby. He had a breakout, 150, almost 160 yards the last game. 30 plus carries. How critical is it for our offense to show those different 5 and 6 looks to lull that defensive back into playing up so that we can strike?
Have to, and that's exactly right. Not that you're trying to give away our game plan or anything.
I don't even know your game plan. I'm just asking obvious questions.
And you're right though. But at the same time, we need those other guys to continue to be able to carry the ball so that we can take some of the load off of Cade Ashby. Hammer's got to get his 4 to 5 touches in the run game. Same thing with Brock. Same thing with Wade. And Bryson and those guys. They have to still get their 4 to 5 carries so that they can take some off Cade. And then again, we still got to be able to throw the ball, and we plan on. We're prepared and ready to go for that as well. I really like our game plan going into tomorrow night.
Well, we've taken enough time. We're always a little behind the 8 ball. My cue up says we should be at break at 6:27, Coach.
6:27.
We're 13 minutes behind. I know you got a freshman game to get to, but before we get to break, we've got a new sponsor coming after the break that we're excited to announce. But speaking of sponsorship, I want to remind our viewers, all of the money that we collect for sponsorship goes right to Ryan Ziegler and his production. It's all for equipment. It's all to pursue or further his passion and his career. Every cent so far has gone right back into this production. Coach's
you didn't
Couch,
get a check?
I haven't got a check.
I didn't either.
I'm waiting until Ryan hits it big, and then I'm going to text him.
There you go.
I'm going to text him and be like, Ryan, don't forget about the little guys.
Yeah.
Chad, Dan, Coach. But we've got new lights, we've got new mics, we've got new equipment. So when Ryan, cue up your sponsorship. We still got segments to sponsor. So if you're out there, you're looking for a good way to impact the community and a local guy that's broke college kid, and give back to your community in this program and Coach's Couch, sponsor this program. We'll be right back with a new sponsor announcement and a new segment. Well, it's an old segment with a new sponsor. We'll be right back.
Support Bulldog Nation by sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators wanted.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Support Bulldog Nation by sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators wanted.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Eat the mic.
Yep.
All right, welcome back to the Coach's Couch. I am excited. I got Coach here and we got couches. But I'm more excited that we have a new sponsor to debut for our Sidelines segment. We call this segment Sidelines, and it is sponsored by the Bulldog Gridiron Club.
Awesome. Love it.
Let's give a couple claps for
Yes.
the old Bulldog Gridiron.
Thank you to the Gridiron Club.
Great organization. Google Bulldog Gridiron Club. They support all things football in Mahomet and cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So make sure you give to Bulldog Gridiron. They give back to the community. They're giving back to the Coach Scouts. They are our segment sponsor. Let's get right into it. This is our segment. We field questions from the audience. So live and also predetermined. The first question that I have, it was sent in on our Instagram. And by the way, RZ's Instagram, he's got a Facebook now for you too, Coach.
He's amazing.
It's Coach's Couch. There's no E in Coaches. So it's Coach's Couch _ Mahomet. Like, follow, share. Do it right now before you forget. Instagram and Facebook. Anyway, we had a submission from Jake from Mahomet. He now lives in Wheaton. I think you know him. I know him too, actually.
I love it.
He had a great question, though. He submitted it on Instagram, didn't he, RZ? Anyway, one of the socials. He says, Coach, what's your most memorable Mahomet game? You've had a lot of them. What's the most memorable? And you got to pick one. Because I know you, Coach, and you're going to say, I can't pick one. Try to pick one.
Man,
That's
that
tough.
is-
That's
that
tough.
is incredibly tough.
None of these questions are queued up for Coach, by the way.
All right, you know what? It's so hard to pick one, but if you're going to force me, because I don't want to get in trouble, kicked off my own show.
I'm forcing you.
Honestly, I don't think I will ever forget the opening kickoff return from Quentin Rogers when we played Triad.
Yes.
I think the Triad game as a whole, it was one of the first times I remember the checkered board and the history behind the checkered board in the end zone, about the playoff
taking me back.
tradition from people, right? What a special tradition
student
that
section
is.
going off. Wow.
Our student section was awesome. And again, Triad was a really good ball club coming in here to our place. And we were really kind of worried, but our kids,
Unproven a little.
oh man, and our
Playoffs.
kids showed up that day. Hayden Marks Miller playing nose guard. I mean, what a special, and that was our first run of us being 11-0 at that time. And so again, previously before that year, we were 4-5, and had missed the playoffs, or excuse me, it was 3-3. 4-5 the year before, because we had the COVID year right before that, and then we went 11-0, and like I said, that
So
Triad,
improving in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
that
that
Triad game, we started the game with Quentin Rogers kickoff return, and oh my gosh, Nick Golden had the pick six down the sideline.
Yes.
Like, it was an awesome ball game and a great atmosphere. That one's definitely going to be up in my top 10 for sure.
I love that you picked one. I was shocked by that fact. But another submission. This is good. I don't know who this is from, but it came in on social media as well. Didn't it, RZ? I don't know. Since moving to Illinois, because you spent some time in Florida.
1 year.
That's some time.
Yeah, sure.
I like Florida. My daughter's going to Florida. Since moving here, well, you were born here.
Yeah.
Then you went. And
It's all right.
Anyway, have you found a Mexican restaurant as good or better than Iguana Mia?
Oh my gosh! I'll plead the fifth on that one. I like.
Remember,
all,
we're looking for sponsors.
I love all. I love all Mexican food. I really do. I am. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll eat it all.
So what's your go-to dish? You're going to
steak and cheese burrito.
That's a good choice.
Man, put some refried beans in.
Okay.
You know, I also
Add
love
some
me some.
queso in there.
I also love me some tacos de carne asada, because you get to build it, put some of that green, spicy verde.
So you
man.
like a little authentic style too.
I like it all.
Yep.
I like it all.
Maybe some new sponsors if you're listening. We need another segment sponsor, Mexican restaurants in Mahomet. We've got lots of them. We got a new one coming. Anyway, next question. Chad had a question, but I don't know what he's doing.
Chad, he can save it for later.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week. I think it's from Bernice from Mansfield. That's all we have this week, but we encourage you guys. This segment, again, is called Sidelines, and it's sponsored by the Bulldog Gridiron Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
BGC.
Love it.
For your support of the Coach's Couch, Ryan Ziegler and Coach. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back with Chalk Talk, who, by the way, is looking for a sponsor.
I love it.
But we've got a couple assistants. It's O-line, D-line week. We'll be right back on Bulldog. Do you want to run some highlights, RZ? Let's run some highlights. We'll be right back on the Coach's Couch.
Love it.
Your Bulldog football game highlights are brought to you by This Week in Bulldog Athletics. Be sure to follow This Week in Bulldog Athletics on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for your Bulldog Nation updates, information, and more.
By sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators want.
I got you. All right, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the break because we're paying for Ryan's college tuition maybe. I don't know.
No one paid for mine.
No, you still got loans?
No, I
Okay.
paid those off.
Paid
long
those
time
off.
ago,
I did
man.
too.
Thanks for asking.
Thank goodness, but man. Okay. Anyway, back to the coach's couch. We are really excited to have a couple. By the way, we call this segment Chalk Talk, which makes sense because we're with coaches. We're looking for a sponsor. You guys are going to get tired of hearing about sponsor sales. I'm done with that for now.
Okay. It's your
All right,
show.
Chalk
Whatever.
Talk. We've got some. We talked about the theme this week is the trenches. And we've got a couple of key coaches for the trenches.
Well, why don't you just introduce them instead of flapping your gums?
You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. We've got Nate Sievers seated next to Chad. And we got JT Murphy, both O-line coaches. We talk all season about how great our O-line is, but it's their turn to talk about them. Chad's got questions. Chad, why don't you lead us in?
All right, coaches, a couple of things that we've noticed from last year to this year. I'll give you both an opportunity to respond to this. Luke Dyer, obviously well composed, right? The one thing we've noticed this year is that he is very, 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 very infrequently even getting an arm on him. Talk about your O-line, how critical they are to protecting that quarterback, right? Number one, on the pass, and then how critical the O-line is to the run game. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You couldn't hear it because you guys were out there, but we racked off, I think, 180 yards last week or something to that effect. No, more than that. Because I think Ashby had 152, right? So you've got a lot of different people touching that ball, and that's number one. Number two, we've noticed that a lot of substitutions are happening on that O-line. You've got, gosh dang it, I'm live. I'm going to totally forget the brothers.
Daniels.
Daniels. I almost said Peters.
Philip
It's not.
and
Noah.
Nolan.
You got the Daniel brothers, and there was a little uncertainty on the O-line before we started the season, right? But we've got people stepping up like Lambo,
Finch.
So talk about the O-line and how critical it is to protecting the pass and establishing the run.
KMP. Don't forget about KMP.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's a football fan, right? I mean, it comes down to the trenches, right, and offensive line play, and that's where you make your bread and butter, whether it's pass or run. And we were fortunate to get all 5 guys back from last year. Obviously, we were very young last year with 3 sophomores, and so those guys got a lot of experience. But then they've grown up over the summer with another year and an off season. And so they've just been able to take that and reinforce what we've taught and then build upon that and then get another full season under their belt here. So that's been huge, I think, is probably the biggest thing of that success is just nothing's really new for them, right? It's just reemphasizing what we teach, what we coach, or those techniques. And so that's been critical for Luke, our pass protection. You know, there was probably some confusion last year, I think, of, you know, just some of the scheme, right? I mean, it's new for them. That jump from freshman football to varsity is a large jump for guys. So, yeah, you know, and then to Luke's credit, he's put in a ton of work in pocket presence, and I think that's been critical that I've noticed, that I've really seen from him, is that, you know, we're a pocket. It's not always perfect, but he's stepping up. He's moving to find himself a spot to get rid of the ball, and I think that's been a huge difference. That's made us look good too. So.
But wouldn't you agree though? Without that firmly established pocket, he doesn't have a lot of choices. But to scramble, right? So that's a credit to the O-line for establishing that pocket to begin with. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we've done a good job, and obviously we've thrown for a lot early on in the season, our guys up front have done a great job of keeping hands away from him or giving him, you know, when it's really all collapsing and you have nowhere to go, right? That's a problem. But even when something may break down, there's still room, right? The pocket's still there a little bit to maneuver within, and so that's been really good this year, and they've done a great job.
So, Murphy,
Yes, sir.
JT, you're one of 3 Murphys on the coaching staff, if memory serves.
I am.
No relation.
No relation.
Okay.
Don't group me with those guys.
Chad,
How
I'm going to
critical-
interrupt you. Hold your question. I got a question for this guy. While you're I know you have a question, but
I'm not thinking. I'm ready, but
I
go
have
ahead.
a better question. It's probably not better. JT, I want to know, you played for Coach Adkins, yeah?
Yes. Yep. My
So
senior year.
you're a player. You're one of the first Coach Adkins players, right? What's it like to play and then transition as a coach? What does that look like? Do you see a different side of this guy? Be honest.
You for sure. You for sure see a different side of Coach Adkins being a player versus being a coach. He wants to act like a hardo all the time, but he's a pretty goofy guy. Loves to have fun outside of practice. He's gonna kill me for saying that.
I want you to
but-
elaborate some more on this.
No, I didn't.
No,
not
you
much
should. You
detail there,
definitely
but-
should.
Yeah, it's live.
I think the biggest difference is he knew he had a lot of work to do when he came in that 2019 season, so there wasn't a ton of time really to goof around or keep it light during practice. You know, we needed to get going in learning this new offense, new defense that he brought in. And so I think the biggest difference, not only as from going from being a player to being a coach, just in his demeanor since he's gotten here is like he's much more lax now because he's well established. You know, the guys are totally bought in. They know what to do. They know what is expected from them. They know what to expect at practice every day. So I think, kind of trailing from your question, but the biggest difference is just the circumstances now that I know we're a well-oiled machine. You know, this thing's going. And when he got here in 2019, that obviously wasn't the case. So when I met Coach Adkins, he was definitely a much more tense guy, and that's how your experience is going to be as a player. But it's just been great as a coach getting to know. I think it's common, it's normal for a player during practice to be like, oh, why are we doing this? Like, this is the last thing I want to do. But stepping away from that and becoming a coach and just talking to all these other coaches, you start understanding, like, the things that are necessary to be successful. Like, there's obviously a reason why we've had the success we've had, and so it's just been super cool learning the game from the other side of the ball for sure.
So how important is the off season? I mean, you've got a fairly meaty O-line, and they're meaty in body, but they're also meaty in strength. How critical is that off season where they're working out, they're doing squats, they're, you know, all of that stuff, number one. And number two, we've noticed a lot, and I said this here at the onset, that there's a lot of substitutions happen. How critical is it to have that second and third guy in that you know you can count on?
Yeah, the off season's everything. You can't just show up at the beginning of August and get yourself in game shape. You can't get yourself caught up on everything that's happened throughout the summer if you're not constantly working, which I don't think that's ever been a problem with this group of guys. They're hungry to win. They were always busting their butts throughout the summer, whether that be lifting, doing some conditioning on their own, lifting on their own. They were constantly meeting up at the field on those dead weeks where we couldn't gather officially as a team. So the off season's huge, especially getting stronger you have to be strong to play in this conference, to play the position. You're going to go up against some big dudes. So the offseason is absolutely everything. And then with the substitutions, we're just lucky enough, like you guys touched on earlier, that we have some guys that don't even see the field in that unit, or don't start. That don't start, that would on a lot of teams around the state, especially a lot of teams in this conference.
Common theme at every position.
Yeah, so we're super deep, and it makes us better. We're always getting good looks during practice, and the reason we're able to substitute is because those guys they have that next man up mentality, and they know they got to be ready to go if something happens. So that's a great aspect of this unit for sure.
Yeah, I'd say we've been blessed to be 7 deep. We had a lot of good competition, in the summer. Lamb and Phil Daniels were in, even Josh Craig was in the mix with the Daniels boys, just trying to figure out who our best 5 were, and we kind of settled on that. But then, even Lamb, we felt like, that goes back to your question on the off season. Felt he had a really good off season. And worked him way into deserving playing time. And so, him and Phil are rotating at that spot. But then there's times where we go 6 O-linemen on the field, and him and Phil and Lamb are on the same time. Lamb's playing tight end, so that gives a lot of versatility, just to put some heavier bodies, an extra guy on there to run the football, short yardage when we're trying to close out games, control line of scrimmage. That's been huge. Josh has come in. Josh Craig's come in on diesel for us, to give some flexibility on that. And so it's definitely a blessing to have. We're not struggling for guys. Those 2 guys would start for other teams at our conference, hands down.
So you guys are very obviously varsity, and you're focused primarily on this season. How far down the line are you looking at JV to the guys that are going to be coming up in the next season to think about development?
I mean, I'm one. I don't try to look too far ahead, but it's always in the back of my mind. I mean, I was probably a few days ago just kind of thinking and sketching, like, okay, what does that look like for next year? And I'm not really putting a whole lot of thought into it, but I at least want to maybe understand and identify kind of who those couple guys are early on, and then see how that summer progresses. Start to give them some ideas, like, hey, yeah, you might be the next man up, and make sure they're putting the work in the off season. So it's always in the back of my head. I try to, in season not think too much about it, but you can't not think about it,
right?
So
I got a question. O-line coaches, part of it's off the cusp, part of it's a real question. So how does it feel, number one, to be the 3rd choice in Coach Atkins' invite for this show? And how real is that? Okay. This is the Jon Adkins roast at times, because he's not here right now. So you can say whatever you want. He'll watch it back 40 times. But in a serious note, how do you prepare your guys in this world of me first mentality? How do you prepare that online mindset that you're not going to get the praise that you deserve? How do you navigate that? But first, how does it feel to be 3rd choice?
I'm absolutely crushed. I'm sure Sievers is too. We were actually talking about that before.
I mean, 5 returners. You should have been the first one here.
No.
Well, what they say with the O-linemen, we're like mushrooms. You're kept in a dark room, and
Yep.
and O-line coaches. So you're just.
But seriously, how do you this is a culture in a world that it's a me first, Twitter, Instagram, all this stuff. How do you navigate that with these kids that have that? They've grown up with this phone and everything. How do you teach them that it's a team first mentality?
I don't think it was too much of a chore to get them to that mentality. One, because most of these guys have played football since they were allowed to, whether that be 3rd grade, a lot of these guys have played the sport a long time, and just, one of the things that come with being an offensive lineman is a lot of combo blocks, and in a combo block you've got more than one guy. You understand that just if you do your job and the other guy doesn't, you understand that it's not going to work. If that doesn't work, you can't get the ball moving, everything else falls apart. So I think the first part of that is we're lucky enough to naturally have a group that's very selfless. Not selfish. They don't carry big egos, and they just understand that it's a position where there's no room to be selfish, in that they got to work together to achieve the common goal. They all want to win, and so it's I think it's been pretty easy to get them in that mindset, to understand that if all 5 of them don't go, then none of them go. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of, like, to your point, I think a lot of guys, they played it in JFL and, and other opportunities, so they've kind of had to mold to that a little bit, and understand that early on. And, yeah, I think if anything, those guys, you're looking for those guys that are just hard workers, and they're guys that want to just hit people every play. And then I think them together, they kind of mold together as a group and rely on each other. More so because, to JT's point, you have to, right? You're playing with those guys next to you every play. You rely on the guy next to you. So I think it creates more of a bond and camaraderie as a unit, if anything.
Yep. Well, great job, guys. I thought you should have been the first invite, but
Yeah,
We agree.
we did. I did too,
we're
Dan,
not,
but
we're not in charge of the coach's
this.
couch. Obviously,
Yeah.
coach is. But great job, guys. Good luck tomorrow night. Big game on the road against Mount Zion for their homecoming. We'll be right back with another segment we call Inside the Huddle.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Support Bulldog Nation by sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators wanted.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Support Bulldog Nation by sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators wanted.
Welcome back to the Coach's Couch. I am excited. Again, we have Coach, and we've got couches. This segment we call Inside the Huddle, and it's sponsored by This Week in Bulldog Athletics.
Love it.
Thank you, Mike
Thanks,
Orton, and
Mike.
This Week in Bulldog Athletics for your support. This is probably my favorite part of the show, besides Q&A with Coach, because we get to see some of these faces behind the helmets. we talked about this being a lineman special. And by the way, boys, this is live TV, but RZ told me we got to eat the mic because the sound's not good if you don't. Oh, now he's got rules.
Yeah, of course he does.
So about right here, about 2 inches or less.
Okay.
That's
right
good.
Here?
So
Love it.
We've got some special guests. We've got O-lineman Braden Lamb right here.
Yep.
We've got Javon Tompkins right over here.
Yep.
He's on the D line. Let's get right into it. So, being that it's a lineman special, we have a special treat because these boys, they got to eat. They got to eat. Chat.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Talk about why we're bringing this in.
This is where the meat happens, boys. You got a big game tomorrow. D-line, O-line, you got to get fueled. And we're feeding the monsters tonight. You get it?
Love it. Thank
Dig
you,
it?
Yo-Yo.
Eat up.
Thank you.
You have to eat on the air.
Oh, no. This is the only time, folks, that we're going to have food fed to the players because these boys eat for a living. So feel free. This is all for you. No one else. You can take it home to the rest of your line. Literally, I know you're hungry. I know you had team dinner, but you always got room.
Always.
Let's get it started, though. And literally, feel free to dig in. So let's start with the offense. Braden Lamb, first question. I understand your mom told you how to dress tonight. Explain.
Well, she saw last week's of Coach's Couch. She saw last week's Coach's Couch, and she liked the way that our quarterback, Luke Dyer, dressed. And he had this pretty similar outfit. Actually, this exact same shirt. She asked Luke's mom, Jessica, where she got it and exactly what it was, and went out and got the exact same shirt just to match Luke Dyer.
So if I understand it right, Coach, you live in this world, but I think the kids call it a fit check.
Oh, yeah.
Do we need to go through the fit check? Like,
Sure.
outfit of the day, get ready with me. We'll get to that with Javon. We'll get to that with it. But, hey, shout out to Mama Lambo, Alicia, for
Thanks,
coming
Dyer,
through.
for the inspiration,
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
Thank you. And totally fitting that you're protecting your quarterback.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
talk
follow his
about
ways.
what's the importance. We talked about it with your coaches. Your O-line coaches were here. How does it feel from an O-line perspective? All the lights. By the way, Coach, we're getting sidetracked. I do that a lot. One of our key offensive weapons, Trey Peters, announced today that he is going to play for Big Ten, University of Illinois. Coach, can you shout him out, and then I'll get to my question?
Yeah, so happy for him. Again, he got a chance to meet with Coach B today, this afternoon. Him and Coach Disher and the family, his mom and dad got to go there as well. And the University of Illinois offered him a roster spot for next year. And so couldn't be happier for Trey and his family. Kind of all the ups and downs he's been through, how hard he's worked to get here, to have the first 3 games that he's had and the stats that he was able to put up. And then the roller coaster down of getting the injury and then being told that your senior year is done. What an emotional kind of roller coaster he's been on, and then for it to be back up at the peak now, getting his dream school to give him that, offer him that roster spot today, just absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy and so proud of him. He absolutely deserves it. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So shout out to Trey Peters, but to my point, like, Trey Peters doesn't get a catch without a Luke Dyer, but Luke Dyer doesn't get open without an O-line, right? Talk about how you navigate that, not getting the shout-outs that the Trey Peters, the Luke Dyers, the Hammers get. How do you feel about that? What's your role in all this?
It's kind of tough seeing like all these people, but they're amazing and they are great at their jobs. Like Luke is amazing, Trey is amazing, all our skill guys are amazing. But just like knowing that we are the ones that like are able to make them, like, let them do a job. So it's like even though we don't get the recognition, it kind of like satisfies like the need for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the recognition tonight. You get fed.
Yeah.
The skill guys didn't get fed.
That's right.
And they're not going to get fed. You boys get fed.
Is this their NIL deal? Is this?
No, we don't want to. I don't.
What they're getting paid?
I don't have an attorney, Coach. I don't know enough about that yet, but possibly. Shout out to Yoyo's, by the way. Yoyo's
absolutely.
provided this for free for you guys. We appreciate them. Let's get to Javon. Javon, I have thoroughly enjoyed. I just met you tonight, but I have thoroughly enjoyed watching you play as a freshman. And a lot of you reminds me of Jack Gallier in the sense of he came up young, raw, hungry. You're a year ahead of that. How do you step up as a freshman? How do you mold? How do the seniors and the juniors accept you? Talk about it.
Well, Henry, Brock, and all the linebackers, they always, even if I'm doing something wrong, they're always there to help me get better and stuff. So I really enjoy that. And Noah, Frank, and Huey, they're really good to me too.
Yeah, so you've got some leadership that's kind of taking you under their wing.
Yeah.
I can't be more excited to watch you play the next 4 years, but I'm most excited about tomorrow night. Coach, talk about the depth that you have at the line and the youth and what Javon adds to that.
Oh, no question. From a defensive standpoint, coming in as a freshman, there's a senior, there's two other juniors, and for him to kind of surpass those guys from a size and skill standpoint, I've told you this, and I'll tell everybody this. I don't have freshman dress varsity. That's not what I've ever done. Jack Gallier and Luke Johnson were the first ever. Trey Peters didn't even dress varsity. Let's not kid ourselves as a freshman. But Javon came in and he was ready to go. He was ready for the moment. He's handled it very well. He has progressed through the year. You made a great point. I can't wait to see where he's at in 4 years too, especially if he continues down this same path. But he's handled this transition very, very well. Again, I tell people this all the time. Going from freshman ball to JV ball is a huge jump. JV ball to varsity ball is a huge jump. I can't imagine what going from youth MSYF ball to varsity football, what kind of jump that is. But again, he's handled it so well. I'm really proud of him. And again, he hasn't just, let it be that he's a varsity starter. He still comes each and every day and earns that spot and continues to work hard. And he knows I'm a freshman. In 4 years, here's where I want to be, and I know what it's going to take to get there. So I've been really proud of his work ethic and all that's transpired throughout, this beginning half of his freshman year. He's done a great job for our defense as a whole. And Braden, as humble as he is, what he hasn't told you is what a utility weapon he is for us. He can go in and tackle. He can play guard. He's played center. He comes in our tight end spot in our Texas package. He's always in our diesel package. He might not be a starter, if you will, maybe on paper, but he is one of the most, if not the most valuable offensive lineman that we have. And I could not be more proud of Braden and the accomplishments and everything that he's went through to battle through everything to get to where he's at today. I mean, last year as a junior, watching two sophomores start of you, that's tough to deal with. But again, because of the great kid he is and just the great head he has on his shoulders, he continued to push himself and work as hard as he can. He had one of the best off seasons that we've ever had from any kid this last off season. I wish I could have videoed him squatting last year to squatting this year. The technique, the form, the weight, that's all him. It's been the drive and the mindset that he's had about his senior year and what his expectations were for that, and him as himself. He's done an incredible job. I'm so proud of him, so happy for him, and he's having a great senior year. And like I said, he's one of the most valuable parts to our offense.
Well, you're fitting the need, right? Coach identified a few needs in that conversation, and it's hard to penetrate a line that is so experienced and to be flexible and to work for it. Credit to you for that. Looking forward to big things from you. Javon, I got another question for you. How do you stay, Coach builds I've been around the program long enough to know his style. How do you stay humble throughout this, right? We're singing your praises, but you got to stay humble and hungry. How does coach and the staff instill that in you day to day?
Turk, Worth, they're always pushing me every day, and even when I do something good, they'll tell me I did a good job. But like they always tell me to come back and want more and more each and every play.
Yeah, I think that's important. As a freshman, you got to understand you're good, but you can be a lot better, right?
Yeah.
So, and stay humble. Stay humble. I promise you it'll work out for you. And on the flip side, here's a guy that grinded, and now he's seeing the reward of his work. Talk about how that feels now going into this season.
Well, I kind of always wanted to be a center, like since like freshman year. Like I've been playing since 3rd grade. I always wanted to be center. But being behind Tyson, he's just like such physical and just he's such a good blocker. Like we have Colton, but like Tyson is just
Technique, IQ.
and like he's just so good at blocking. Like he blocks Javon every day, and like he's 100 pounds less than him, more than that, and he's still like able to block him, even though Javon still whips his butt sometimes. But like being behind that, I feel like I just like kind of like put myself in a bad place, and like so I had like grind through like to like try to surpass him. But then I just like realized that I need to be like useful everywhere. So like I learned tackle, guard, center, tight end this year. Like I feel like that's really important to like how I can be used, and like I can be put at any time if anyone gets hurt. I'm rotating reps right now with Phil, as like we're both like he's technically the starter because he goes in first, but like we both get even reps, and like it's all
team first mentality.
Team first.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. The real star of the Lamb family is obviously Macy.
Hell yeah.
Talk about it.
Well, I think she's the best football player out of the three of us.
I have a scout. Chad and I are helping with flag football, and we've got her scouted, by the way. She's not going to fool us, but go ahead.
Well, she's an amazing player. Like she can
She's a
catch
problem.
the ball. She's fast.
She's a problem.
But it's just getting like the boys to understand that like she is that. Like a lot of boys her age, especially, like don't believe in her.
They underestimate
like,
the girl.
She's a girl. Like a lot of people do it, but like she is fierce. Like she beats up me, and
I know. She's the best Lamb coming up.
100%.
She really is, and she's really tough too.
Yeah, she beats up Javon sometimes.
I told
and he
you.
comes our house.
I know this.
Yeah, but she's just like, once she can like get her team to understand, like she's pumped for high school flag football. Like,
I love
girls,
it.
like,
Yeah, that's great.
She's really excited for that.
I'm excited for her too.
Yeah.
Last question. We like to roast Coach a lot on this show. We call it the Coach's Couch, but it's really kind of a roast. I think Alex Giorgio kind of alluded to that. The number one roaster is right behind you. So it's your chance and Chad's. This is now turned into the roast of Coach Atkins. So
No, I'm not going to do that.
We're going to be serious.
I have 2 questions. I got one for Lambo, one for Javon. When you line up on the ball, I'll start with Javon. What are you saying to the player across from you? What kind of smack are you talking?
He's not saying anything because he's been coached up well that we don't get penalties.
Javon, what are you
Right,
saying
Javon?
to the team across from you?
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh,
Chad, you can't
Every
do that. This
time,
coach
every
is sitting
time.
right here. You just can't do that.
yes, sir.
I had talked to them about food, like what they're gonna eat after, and like that's just my mindset. Just like eating. They love it too. They think it's hilarious.
So
like,
when you line up on the ball, what are you saying to that defensive tackle?
I ask them what they're gonna eat after the game.
Have you ever been to Yoyo's and had their nachos?
Yeah.
You surprised?
No, but I love it. I absolutely
Or,
love
or
it.
sometimes I bark at them, just sometimes.
You bark at them?
Yeah, and they get real scared.
Bulldogs.
Javon, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm lined up across from you, I'm scared whether you're barking or not.
You better be.
Highlight of the night right there.
That's it.
Hey, RZ, clip that. That's going to work. That's going to be a meme or something.
You better be.
But this is your guys. We're about to go to break, but this is your guys' chance. Ask Coach anything. One at a time. We'll start with Javon. What do you got for Coach? We're live.
What's your favorite side of the ball, offense or defense?
Ooh.
What do you say, Coach?
He said, "What's my favorite side of the ball?
Oh,
Offense or
I love
defense?" Javon,
Fighting words. Fighting words.
I have to give you
He's
the
a quarterback.
political answer because I played quarterback growing up, and for the first 6, 7, 8, so for the first 10 years of my career, I was always an offensive coordinator. Then for the next 3 years, I was a defensive coordinator. Right now, I enjoy being able to help on both sides. I really do. I like having an input or a say-so, I guess, if you will, on both sides of the ball. More importantly, maybe I like to know what's going on both sides of the ball. You know, I don't ever want to not be in the know. But as crazy as it sounds, I will tell you, I think my biggest downfall as a play caller offensively was my emotions. I would let my emotions get the best of me, and I would get so fired up that it would affect my next couple play calls. Where on the defensive side of the ball, that usually helps. So I've really enjoyed spending more time on the defensive side of the ball the last few years because I can let those emotions out. And then it can carry over into the offensive side of the ball with just naturally me being fired up and pumped up and celebrating with those guys. So I don't have a great answer for you, but I think that's an incredible question.
It's a great question, and it also proves that he is definitely not answering that question. But it also proves that he loves each and every one of you, and 100%. We know that. But it's your turn.
Which senior class is your favorite?
Oh, my gosh.
Coach, hate to put you on the spot here, but the players, and no, they're not running extra reps. You have to answer the question.
Man. Okay. I can literally talk about every single senior class that I've had. From 2014, where my quarterback is coaching for me now. From my first year here, that I'll never forget that class. I mean, that's your first class. From my first class that I had for all 4 years here through the varsity program. From my first class that I've had when they were 7th graders when I first got here. There's not a class that I've ever had in my career that I don't still think about, that I don't still keep in connection with at least a few of those kids. I had a kid from my 2010 class who bought my former house. I mean, I could go on for days, and I can't just pick one because I mean, I got into this profession. I love football. I do. I truly do. But I love the relationships that I get to build. I love the impact that I get to have on kids. And I love watching them grow up, as crazy as that sounds. My 2 own kids are still little now, and I'm kind of going through a little bit of that right now. But, again, I just met up with a kid a couple weeks ago who was literally from my first ever class in 2010, and just to see him now with his 4 kids and his wife and his awesome job, that's why I do what I do.
Well, that's about the most political answer you can give, and heartfelt. I'll give it to Coach Adkins. We appreciate Javon. We appreciate Lambeau. They haven't eaten a whole lot of food, but they're going to here in a minute.
I bet it'll be gone by the end of the show.
We'll take one more break, and we'll be back to wrap this coach's couch up here in just 1 minute.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Support Bulldog Nation by sponsoring Coach's Couch. Become a segment sponsor today and get your business featured in a 15-second ad during the show. Plus, enjoy a shout-out during your sponsored segment. Contact us at the information on your screen to secure your spot today.
Greetings, Bulldog Nation. The Bulldog Gridiron Club is a non-profit organization made up of parents and community members whose goal is to enhance the reputation and tradition of Mahomet Seymour Bulldog football and cheerleading through financial support and community outreach. To learn more about what we've done, what we have planned, and how you can help support our student athletes, visit our website for more information. Go Bulldogs!
Looking for high-quality pro audio? Movo is your solution. The WMX2 Duo is perfect for interviews, podcasts, or presentations with its wireless, hassle-free audio. Upgrade your audio with Movo today. Shop the WMX2 Duo at movo.com. Movo. Creators wanted.
This week in Bulldog Athletics is the leader in Mahomet Seymour Junior High and High School athletics. Not only providing you with daily game recaps of all sports, but also providing captivating photography, graphics, and videography to showcase our Bulldog athletes. Give Twiba a follow on our socials, and remember, it's always a great day to be a Bulldog.
Jack, you're the reason he's not playing.
Hey, we're about to wrap this show up. It's been an extra lengthy overtime version of
Overtime, I like
Coach's
that.
Couch.
Oh.
Not double overtime, but
No.
we have
Oh,
one
we don't
last
know.
guest before we wrap this up. Chad, we've got Emmett. Kelly, where's Kelly?
Oh,
Kelly, come on in.
He's on the back.
she's not,
Kelly's coming. Kelly's on her
the
way.
reason Jack isn't playing in flag football.
Kelly.
Let's keep going. We got a guest to the left here.
Kelly, have a seat here next to
Oh,
Chad.
here we go.
Dan's going to sit.
We've got the
Miss
whole
Kelly.
family minus the flag football superstar. He's probably practicing at home. Yep.
He is. He's at the
Oh,
freshman
well,
game. Yeah.
at least one of the Atkins is at the game. But you know what? We already reserved you, Coach, so it's not your fault.
It's true.
It's my fault, RZ's fault, Chad's fault. I'm actually blaming Chad. Chad, do you have
Hey,
a
score
question for
update:
Kelly?
28-8 Bulldogs at halftime.
Take
In case anybody
28
was
to 8
wondering.
a half.
Good
We're
guys,
live. 20. Good guys. Playing
Mount Zion. Yeah, the Mount Zion
I can't
freshman
remember
team.
if it's
Yeah,
a reverse.
Yep.
Or,
Yep.
Anyway, I'm going to ask Miss Emma a question. You got to have something for Kelly.
Okay.
So,
I'm asking you a question.
Miss Emma, okay, you got to eat the mic here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like
it's got to be
talking.
close so the crowd can hear you. What's it like living in a football family, and why is your dad a Packers fan?
He just likes it because it's his favorite team since he was born.
That a girl.
Now, does that mean you're a Packers fan?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a chance we can switch you over to like orange and blue? I mean, we're orange and
No.
blue here. Okay, and that's a wrap for
Hey,
Emma's segment.
How about you tell Dan, what are you awesome at? What do you do? Do you do football or do you do?
Cheer.
Okay.
She's the cheerleader of the
I
house.
love that. So what's
Yeah.
your favorite part of cheering?
Stunting.
Stunting? Yep. So what grade are you in?
First.
Oh, man. You're going to be a great cheerleader. I can see it already.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining your dad's show. Chad, you have a question for Mrs. Atkins?
I absolutely do. Miss Atkins, in all seriousness, there's a lot of time and dedication that goes into a coach's dedication to his game. How do you balance the work, personal life, within the family community, I guess you could say, and then also a follow-up question: does John ever shut off his intensity for football? Sorry, just to be clear, we're live.
Well, he'll regret having me on this couch. No. Well, we kind of really, I don't know, we figured it out a long time ago. I'm equally competitive, and so I really...
Have you seen her on the sidelines? Okay.
I really decided a long time ago that I couldn't love Friday night and then not understand Monday through, well, I shouldn't say that, Saturday through Thursday that go into it. And so he really makes it a point that when he's home, he tries to be home. and he tries to help as often as he can when he's there.
We just learned something new about Jon Adkins tonight. This is a whole new segment.
Well, to be fair,
Sponsor.
there's a reason why we call the spring season the season of Kelly, because
that's
that's
true.
the only time when we really get him home a lot is in the spring. And so for the fall, he really does, whenever he's home, he tries to do as much as he can. But we kind of get into our groove. We, as strangely as it sounds, our jobs are kind of convenient in that we have a really similar schedule. And so our kids have just grown up tagging along, and they continue to do that. And it's probably part of the reason why Jack loves
Jack used
sports.
to sit. He used to sit in the corner of a basketball gymnasium, sitting in his stroller. Like that's what he's grown up in.
Yep, eating a ton
and
of
Emma,
puffs.
Yeah, and Emma too. So yeah, we've just figured it out. That's
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's a better way to end this segment without tearing up. This is a family that's dedicated to the community, dedicated to the program. We have the great pleasure I've had for 2 years of having your son on my flag football team.
This is the year. This is the year. I feel it.
This is the year.
Yep.
Regrettably, he's not competitive at all.
Not at all like John.
Listen, tune in tomorrow night. Mount Zion 3-2, Bulldogs 3-2. It's a battle. Thanks for tuning in here tonight to Coach's Couch, episode 3. Did I miss a week? 4. I missed a week.
Hey,
5.
before we go, I would just like to point out, Lambo. How's that food,
Chillin'.
buddy?
Lambo's
Yes,
just-
sir.
It's the best part.
Yes,
Just
sir.
pork and
You're already on
chips.
camera, don't worry.
Just
I was
pork
just
and
gonna say,
chips.
acting like
Just going for it.
Here, they want to know. The fans want to know how's it taste.
It's amazing.
seriously, come on down. The nachos.
Fuel for
the
tomorrow
waffle
night,
fries.
Lambo.
Live
Act like
here.
those waffle fries aren't fire.
Live here at Yoyo's. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We'll see you next week on Coach's Couch. That's a wrap.
That was perfect.